Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to do something a teensy bit interesting, which is going to be the Sacred Relic Sword, but we're not going to really be using the Ash of War all that much. Instead, we're going to be just using it for its moveset. Now, the thing is that I had the idea for doing this because the Sacred Relic, if I'm not mistaken, is the longest greatsword, right? And the standard greatsword moveset is not that bad, actually. Like, sure, you have you don't have the Knight's greatsword R1, which is definitely better. But the thing is that the second R1 of the standard greatsword moveset has an extremely early hitbox that starts essentially behind you, right? And the thing is that it's a lot better on the longer greatswords. So, because like it's a very small amount that it reaches back, so you need as much range as possible. And so that was the idea that I had going on, but I guess I overestimated how much I was actually going to be able to land it in invasions. And yeah, maybe I need to try this weapon again higher than 125 because it's interesting. Despite the AR looking quite good, I was testing right here to see if I could get the wave to go down. I did not. Very sad. But anyway, even though the AR looked pretty good, it wasn't hitting hard enough to really get all that much respect from my opponents. Like, sure, you're seeing the wins, but... And granted, maybe this was skewed by the amount of Japanese mages I was fighting against that I couldn't roll catch for the life of me. But yeah, it just wasn't quite enough damage to get respect from my opponents. And so there were quite a couple invasions where I was trying to do my thing, trying to hyper armor trade someone, and they just keep coming forward, right? Now, granted, what's interesting is that the Sacred Relic has a higher dexterity scaling than it does faith scaling. So I'm running 60 faith, and I think minimum stat requirement for dexterity. I think a build that's a little bit more well crafted will at least go to 25 faith and then use the 2-finger heirloom to be able to use Black Flame protection or the other ones. But I did not do that. What is cool about it being on a dexterity character, however, is that I am able to run an offhand cater. Now, I was going to run an offhand dagger, which you still certainly can, but the reason I'm running the cater is because I wanted a weapon that I could quickly, I could pump out a pretty strong L1, right? It's not the world's greatest offhand weapon, but it's not bad either. I was right there going for the turnaround hit, but did not get it. But the thing is that if I two-hand the cater, the cater is like one of the scariest weapons that can run you down, right? And that's the biggest problem with greatswords, even the good ones, is that you do not have a good ability to finish an opponent off. I did get the hit right there, the second turnaway hit, and I will hit it again on the blue, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Yeah, so the cater is working out quite nicely for the times I did go for it. Gonna have the guy going for Dragon Breath right there. We don't want any of that, so we're gonna dip real quick. Now, kind of the reason why this video is only about 11 minutes is because, unfortunately, I just did not find this weapon very fun. Like, maybe this weapon really starts to shine and becomes fun at, like, say, 150 and higher. Thing is I'm just not interested in making that high of a level character. The highest I will ever go is 125. And I might end up trying a higher one for a video, but I would just be reverting my save back to my character being 125. I'm not interested in having a character higher than meta level. So yeah, at meta level, it just feels like it doesn't get to enjoy all of its scaling, all of its damage and tools and whatnot. And I think this actually wouldn't be too bad of a dueling greatsword. And the reason is that one-handing a great sword and then using an offhand dagger is a pretty darn good setup. Now, granted, the best ones in the weapon class for doing this are the Moonlight and the Health and Steeple, but the thing is that because of how ludicrously long the Sacred Relic is, I imagine that it's gonna play out kind of like the Nagakiba, where a lot of your damage comes from your opponent not thinking that you are in range. So look right here, 1, 2, yep, and that wasn't even close to as far behind you that the second hit is able to land. Now, granted, the thing is about this version of the Great Sword R1 is that there is a true combo you can get from it that I have, as far as I'm aware, not successfully gotten before because it is quite difficult. Which is if you hit with the very last hitbox of the first R1, which requires hitting really low on your opponent, like hitting their feet or something, then if you turn around that second R1, that'll true combo. I learned that from an Omega video. I imagine if you're watching me, then you are very well aware of who Omega is, but if you are not, go look him up. If I remember to, I'll put his channel in the description. But yeah, like, see, that was a good little puff and sting right there with the Cater. And since I've got him on as Lonesome now, I don't feel like I need the Hyper Armor quite as much, so I'm going to play around with this a little bit. The running R1s and the R2s of a one-handed greatsword have a ton of range. And when you combine that with having as much range as this weapon, I imagine that you will get a ton of hits that your opponent did not expect you to get. I would have to try out specifically the Steeple plus Cold Wakizashi, like, to get a better idea of how strong I think this is just generally in invasions, because I more so think of it as a dueling setup. See, and we swap to the Cater to finish him off. He's rolling, and there he goes, right? And yeah, man, like, I went to record this footage. Every single person that I was fighting against is from Japan. Because I only had time to record in the morning, and that is what happened. I only had time to do it at like 5 in the morning, which is apparently when all the Japanese players are playing, and it means that roll catching. Yeah, so say goodbye to roll catching. Now this right here is demonstrating the intense amount of stamina the Ash of War eats. GG's, man. But I had no ability of rolling right there because I wasn't paying attention to my stamina, and the Ash of War just absolutely decimated what I had. So you have to, and this is part of why this weapon wasn't too terribly fun to me. You know, most people use this weapon just for the Ash of War, right? Well, the thing is that I was trying to do something a little bit interesting and be like, oh, what if I use it as almost like a mid-combo roll catch? And it's much too slow to do that, I'm aware, but I was like, what if I can force it to work? Yeah, it didn't work very well. I got it maybe once, but it did not work as well as I was hoping it would. But yeah, this is kind of like one of the premier gank more weapons, so it's not surprising that it doesn't do too terribly well outside of that situation. And obviously it's a very good farming weapon, but you know, within the confines of invasions and PvP, you're never hitting this in a duel, this Ash of War. If you're hitting it in a duel, your opponent was playing with their penis. And yeah, in invasions, like, you will hit people with it, but it's just not as oppressive as when a Phantom uses it over and over with their 99 mind. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, I only have enough mind to use it twice, and that's about all I can ask for. The lock-on almost messes me up right there. That felt really cool, rolling off and getting that jump R1, even though it came from a crouch. Mix up the timing right there and get him too. Very nice, very nice. Now, we spawn into a pretty scary place. Fighting a 3v1 is always scary, but doing it in such a area where I have so little room to work is scary as well. Now, I see he's light rolling, and this is exactly why we're going with the Cater. because the fists that have this run, oh man, do they have a lot of forward momentum. And especially the prosthesis, but generally speaking, the ones that have that version of the running R1 have so much forward momentum that you are able to catch a light roll, unless it's, you know, like unforgivably latent, but we still managed to get them, which is good. So with that, we're going to try and land that right there. They both have the reaction time of a turtle. Thank you, guys. Thank you, thank you. And now we're going to have an honest Ash of War battle. That's right. So he's going to use that once, twice. Can't believe he went for a different move right there. Very unoptimal gaming. I imagine that I eventually go for the Waves of Piss. Go for Waves of Piss. Also, if you're wondering why Antebellum's not in this video, she didn't want to use this weapon. She said it was stupid. So that's why she's not in it today. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.